Hello, John Hively here. I'm here to report on an emergency. The Social Security Administration is under siege, and your Social Security benefits are potentially going to be cut. And they're actually going to be redistributed to very wealthy people. Or at least not all your Social Security benefits, but a big chunk of it. And let me tell you how the scam works. But first, let's listen to what then candidate for president Donald Trump said in 2024 about what he was going to do to Social Security.
I will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare, and I will not raise the retirement age by 1 day, not by 1 day. And for 4 years, I didn't.
So there you go. That's what he said. But there are sneaky ways to do this, to cut your benefits and redistribute it to very wealthy people. So let's take a look at something that occurred. I'm going to read it to you. So here it is by Judd Legum. I got this off of Twitter. An internal Social Security Administration memo dated March 13th lays out a plan to sabotage the agency. The memo itself predicts, quote, service disruption, operational strain, and budget shortfalls. The memo, authored by Acting Deputy Social Security Administration Commissioner Doris Diaz, purports to be motivated by a desire to mitigate fraud risks. Elon Musk has pushed several false claims about the nature and scope of Social Security fraud. The biggest change contemplated by the memo is to require internet identity proofing for benefit claims made over the phone. Under the new system, this would force people to visit an office to have their claims processed. The memo estimates it will require 75,000 to 85,000 in-person visitors per week to Social Security offices to implement the policy. In 2023, the most recent data available, there were about 119,000 daily visits on average to Social Security offices. 85,000 more weekly visits would be a 14% increase. The wait time for a Social Security appointment, even before these changes, averaged over a month. The memo anticipates creating a huge surge in demand for in-person appointments, just as the Social Security Administration slashes staff and closes offices. The Social Security Administration, pushed by DOGE, is planning to cut 12% of its staff and is shuttering dozens of offices. A Social Security Administration source said there are, quote, no significant concerns about fraud at intake. That's when people file their claims, because multiple layers of verification take place before a claim is approved. The source said they believe the new steps are an effort to create additional hurdles to filing claims. And the combination of fewer workers, fewer offices, and a massive increase in the demand for in-person services could sabotage the Social Security system, denying many Americans the benefits they are due because they paid into the system. Now, let me tell you how this scam potentially works. Emphasis on the word potentially. So the Social Security Trust Fund is one of the most efficient systems in the world. It has a 0.5% overhead cost, administrative costs. So for every $100 that is taken in by Social Security, 50 cents is used to administrate it. That is, that 50 cents is per $100 is to pay wages, buy phones, computers, whatever. Pay for the water, pay the water bill for the offices, whatever. Now here's where it gets really dicey. Now imagine you're an 85-year-old woman and you have a walker, and your Social Security check hasn't come in a couple of months, and you call the office a few times, Call the Social Security Administration a few times. You can't get anybody on the phone because the staff has been cut. Finally, you try to get on the internet, but you can't because your internet's been cut because you haven't received your checks and you haven't paid your bill. Then, of course, you have to get on the bus, which is really hard because you can't afford the bus tab. But the bus driver, he lets you on anyway because you're a nice old lady. So you're on your walker. Takes a couple hours, couple transfers of the bus to get to the Social Security office. That has been closed. And then you have to grab the next bus and go to the next Social Security office and wait in line behind 100 other people because the employees at that office that are there to help you, the number of them have been reduced by, say, 12% or more. And that's just to get an appointment sometime in the future. So that's how screwy the system is that they're looking to make. They're looking to manufacture this kind of system. So, that being said, it's going to obviously make the Social Security Administration the most efficient system in the world, perhaps, or certainly one of the most, look inefficient. So how do you cure that? Well, you do what old President George W. Bush tried to do. You know, the one who lied us into the war in Iraq and lied to us numerous other times. That guy, yeah, he wanted to privatize Social Security for his billionaire friends on Wall Street. Luckily, that time it was defeated. But this time, I'm skeptical that we can beat this unless you do a lot of calls to your congressmen, to your senators, and to President Trump himself. Because here's the scam. If it's inefficient, there's going to be a move to privatize it. And when they privatize it, how many private firms, businesses, corporations do you think have a 0.5% overhead cost? And the answer is probably not a single one. Maybe a few, but the odds are if they're whatever company, corporation they're going to have administrating the Social Security agency, it's going to probably have a 15 to 25% overhead cost. Now, they're going to have rich shareholders, for example, and they're going to want their dividends and their rising share prices. So where is that big overhead going to come? Because it's going to rise from 0.5% to 15 to 25%. Well, the only place, unless they're planning new Social Security taxes to make up the difference, the only place they're going to get it is from beneficiaries' benefits. They're going to have to cut benefits to reward billionaire investors to administer the Social Security Trust Fund. Anyway, that's what's going on with Social Security. It's a scam, potentially. I'm not saying it is totally. But call your congressman, let him know. Call your senator, let him know. Call your president, let him know you're onto this potential scam. Now this show, that's all I got to say on this issue for today. But this show is going to do a lot more of these revealing type of things. So we're going to look at history. We're going to look how the rich have stolen $7.5 trillion in the Social Security Trust Fund. We're going to look at judicial corruption. We're going to look at how the political markets work. We're going to look at news stories, and we're going to look at we're going to provide a little more in-depth analysis than what you might normally be used to. At least that's my hope. Anyway, the other thing is I have a plan, a battle plan to roll back all this corruption that's going on in government. That's been going on for over 50 years. And I'm not going to reveal it to you yet because I haven't completely laid the foundations. I'm just beginning to lay the foundations. But we want to spread the word. If you want to roll back corruption, I think we can. And so we need to spread the word. So if you like, subscribe, and share, that'll bring more people in. And they'll get to hear a different voice. Not many voices are going to tell you how that scam on Social Security work and what they're doing right now to sabotage the Social Security Administration. Anyway, that's all I got to say today. You guys have a good one. We'll talk to you later. Bye.